Hello viewers, this is Mehar again with a new video. Well, humanity is trying its level best to cope up with COVID-19 pandemic and its effects. Economy is trying to make a gradual comeback. Meanwhile, in India, two cyclones hit our country. In Odisha and West Bengal, Cyclone Amphan, and in Maharashtra, Cyclone Nisarga. There was huge loss of lives and properties, and in all this comes World Environment Day. And in light of these catastrophic events, it has become quite necessary that we talk about various environmental issues confronting us. This time, the theme has been selected Biodiversity, celebrating biodiversity for Environment Day. Well, we all know what biodiversity is. Biodiversity refers to life forms that are out there in nature, including human beings also. From time to time, human civilization has taken great advantage of biodiversity and natural resources. From food to medicine, from shelter to our every comfort that's out there, we directly or indirectly depend upon biodiversity and natural resources. In the past, the relationship between man and nature was of an amiable one. Men used to care about plants, animals, birds, and everything that was there in nature. He shared harmonious relationship with nature. However, all this changed in the age of industrialization. In the post-industrial world, man, owing to scientific progress and technological advancements, has now established his superiority over all living creatures. But it all has come at a heavy price, at expense of nature. Humans have damaged water bodies, have polluted air, have cleared acres of lands for urban settlement, has rendered fertile land unfertile, has interrupted with every natural setup that's out there in the nature because of development, because of so-called development. However, biodiversity has suffered most in the hands of modern man, from habitat fragmentation and habitat loss that is due to unplanned and unsustainable infrastructure development, to hunting and poaching of animals for skin, for spores, or for body. Modern man has brought wildlife on the verge of extinction, and all these activities have contributed to extinction of millions of species in a small span of just 100 years. Human greed has increased so much, human lust has increased so much that he is not ready to see anything in front of money. Human activities have led to global warming, and global warming has in turn led to climate change. And climate change essentially has destroyed livelihood of millions of species who are unable to cope up with this unpredictable and unprecedented changes in climate cycles. Besides pollution, marine life is also threatened with oil spills that have contributed to their destruction. Scientists have warned that Earth is accelerating towards sixth mass extinction, and it is happening at such a rapid pace which hasn't been seen any time in history. And the most important part is that for this, only and only human beings are to be blamed. Despite all the noise, despite all the warnings, and despite seeing all the consequences of his ruthlessness, human being in general hasn't abstained from harming nature. Recently, a horrible incident of a pregnant elephant getting killed by eating a fruit filled with crackers shook the entire nation. It showed how inhuman we have become, how cruel we have become in our approach towards animals and other living creatures. And believe me, if I say this, believe me that it isn't an isolated incident. In another example, From Australia, thousands of camels were reported being killed routinely despite opposition from animal activists and camel meat industry. And not only this, dear friends, animal cruelty and animal abuse is rampant across the globe and goes unreported mostly. Animals are hunted, caged, imprisoned in the name of trade. They are used for recreational purposes. They are used in vaccination trials. They are killed for their skin and for their body parts. In fact, issue of COVID-19 threw a light upon this disaster of wildlife trafficking because it originated from an illegally operating wet market in China that unlawfully sold wildlife. In the name of profit and business, we have damaged our biodiversity. For us, money is the only standard, and we are not paying attention to what our actions are doing to the biodiversity, and we aren't surely learning our lesson. Another challenge that has arisen out of this COVID-19 pandemic is safe and scientific disposal of unused masks, gloves, and PPE kits. We all realize that our frontline warriors need these items for their fight against COVID-19. However, if they are disposed of carelessly, they are a potential health hazard. Stray animals eat these undisposed items, thinking them to be food, and if disposed in aquatic bodies, they can cause severe damage to marine and freshwater bodies, organisms. Dear friends, it isn't an exaggeration when I say that modern man is solely responsible for most of the mess in environment. We have been selfish, we have been arrogant in our approach towards nature and other living creatures. We have created chaos in every natural process. We have damaged and disturbed every food chain. Due to us only, within a span of some 100 years, millions of species have become extinct and millions of species are on the verge of extinction. Our selfishness, our greed has harmed nature more than anything. And it is high time we realize our blunders, we realize our mistakes. We must keep this in mind that we are guests of nature and not her masters. Nature can do way better without us, but we cannot survive without nature. It is high time we be organic. It's high time we be eco-friendly. Let us pledge to strictly implement laws that are for environment and its conservation, for biodiversity and its conservation. Let us fight this menace of pollution. Let us fight this menace of environmental degradation together. Humanity has no choice than to keep environment and its protection as its priority in its development agenda. If we do this, we are going to be happy.